Won't believe this. Garry Kasparov, the legend of chess, played the Evans Gambit against one of the best in the history of chess, Viswanathan Anand, and crushed him in only 24 moves. How could that happen? Let's go and find out.
This game has been played in Tal Memorial 1995, Kasparov White, Anand Black. Kasparov started the game with pawn to e4, e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, bishop to c4, bishop c5, so-called Italian opening, and here Kasparov surprised Anand with pawn to b4, sacrificing a pawn on move 4 against 2700 player. It's very risky. And it's very rare, this opening so-called Evans Gambit is very rare at top-level GM's games, but Bobby Fischer, another legend of chess, played this against very strong opponents and had very good results with white pieces. You can check out that games. In this position, it's not a good idea to play bishop b6, because after bishop b6 white will just simply place b5, and after knight d4 you should be very cautious in this position with white, and you should not grab this pawn. If you grab this pawn, black will simply swing his queen to g5, attack e5, attack g2. And if you play knight takes f7, another blunder, black will play queen g2, and it is a very famous trap. After rook f1, black will take on e4, and if you play bishop e2, then black plays knight to f3, and it is checkmate. So be very cautious. You should not take on e5. But you can simply take on d4, and after bishop takes d4, you can just simply play c3, and after bishop b6, just castle. Everything is normal. You're ahead in development, and white has a very better position. So, Anand, of course, played a good move. He plays bishop takes b4, and here Kasparov played c3. You might wonder why Kasparov played b4, why this b4 move is a good move. It's an interesting move, it's not a very good move, but the idea is to gain tempo. You know, in Italian opening, when white plays c3, black plays knight f6, and the game is very sharp. White has his own ideas, black has his own ideas. And if you play d4, there are tons of theory here, and you can just check them. But Kasparov played b4 in view that after bishop b4, I play c3 and gain another tempo. And he has to move his bishop, and after he moves his bishop, I will play pawn to d4. I mean, look at this. If your opponent plays bishop c5, you can just simply play d4, and after he takes, you can even ignore this. You can take it back, but you can even ignore this. This position is very dangerous for black because, for example, if he takes, you can even take on f7 in this position, which is very strong move. You can play queen b3, which is another strong move, and it's very hard for black to defend this position. Look, if he plays queen e7, you play knight takes e3. Another idea is knight to d5. So it is not a good idea to play back to c5, to put your bishop on c5. But here black has two good moves, which Anand played one of them, which is bishop e7 in his game. Another move, which has been played by other strong super GMs, is bishop a5. I am going to show you a game between Shahryar Mamedyarov and Ding Liren, a very recent game in a rapid game that Shah played Evans Gambit against Ding. After bishop a5, Mamedyarov played pawn to d4, and you can see this. White sacrificed one pawn, and he doesn't mind sacrificing another pawn. If black takes this, white will just simply put his queen on b3, and it is very hard to defend this position with black because the f7 pawn is hanging, and if you defend it with queen e7, white just simply castle. He ignores everything. And look at this position. White wants to place his bishop on g5 to a3. If you take this pawn, he will just simply place the knight takes e3. He wants to put his knight on d5, and if you eliminate this knight, he will take with queen takes e3. He attacks g7. He has bishop a3 idea. He always have e5 break. So be very careful with black. This position is not a good idea. Go for it. So black should not take the second pawn, and Ding Liren played the best move here, pawn to d6. And here, Shahryar started another attack with queen b3, aiming for the f7 pawn. And here, where many of your opponents can go wrong. I mean, it's very hard to play this opening in amateur level. I mean, it's very hard to play it for black pieces. It's very easy to play it with white pieces. In this position, if black plays queen e7, which is a very natural move, but it's a blunder, white will just simply place pawn to d5 and wins a piece. How? If black moves his knight, we will just simply give the check and win the game. So queen e7 is wrong, queen f7, f6 is also wrong, we play d5, and after knight e7, queen a4, white is completely winning. So be very careful with black, but Ding Liren from China played the best move in this position, queen to d7, which is very hard to find. I mean, nobody put his queen ahead of his bishop, but this is theory, this is opening theory, and it is the only way that black can defend this position. After queen d7, white just simply castled, Shah from Azerbaijan castled, and another strong move from the Chinese guy, bishop to b6, apparently attacking the pawn on d4, but the main idea is to play knight a5 and eliminate this bishop. In this position, d5 is not such a good idea, and black has knight a5, queen b4, knight takes c4, queen takes c4, d takes e5, and after knight takes e5, black plays queen e6. Very good position for black. Black has two bishops, better pawn structure, white pawn structure is ruined, so this position is very bad for white. Don't go for this, but Shahryar in this position played a better move, knight to d2, and after knight a5 he played queen to c2, and after knight takes c4 he played knight takes c4. Very interesting position, very unclear position. Shahryar went on to get advantage, but unfortunately in the end he couldn't convert his advantage, and the game ended in a draw. But in the Kasparov Anand game, Anand put his bishop on after bishop takes b4 cc. Anand put his bishop on e7. Here everything is well known till here. Kasparov played d4, and be aware, white has the threat of queen b3. Before this move, if queen b3, black has knight h6, and if you play d4, black has knight a5, so it doesn't work for white. So now but white played d4, and if you are not cautious and for example play d6, white will just simply queen b3, and it might be just simply winning for white, because after knight a5, bishop takes f7, king f8, queen a4, wins the knight and wins the game for white. So black should be very careful, and Anand played the best move here, which is knight to a5. But in this position, Kasparov played a novelty, which was not played before, and this move was completely unknown to Anand. Anand was hoping that Kasparov will regain his pawn with knight takes e5, and after knight takes e4, knight takes e4, I will play d5, I will open up the center, and after takes, I will take it, and after knight d3. This position is very good for black. Black can just simply play queen a5, even queen to e6, even to d8, everywhere is good. Black has two bishops, no worries. The position is unclear. And after e takes d5, black can even play knight to f6. I mean, this move is also possible. So he was hoping for this, but Kasparov just ignored everything and put his bishop on e2. Here, it's very hard for black to defend this position. But Anand also played the best move here, which is e takes d4. And this was Kasparov's idea. I mean, if Kasparov just simply plays c takes d4, he was hoping for something like d5, and after that, if white takes, black can just simply play c6. And if white takes this one, black give away the material, but now he has piece activity and better pieces, and this pawn on d4 is weak, so it's not bad for black. So this was Anand's idea, and if e5, he can just simply play bishop b4, his knight will come to e7, this knight will go to c6, black is a pawn up and has a good position. But Kasparov had different ideas, and in this position he played for initiative. He played queen takes d4, attacking the pawn on g7, and asking a lot of questions to Anand. Anand, of course, cannot play bishop f6 because of e5, and his g7 pawn is attacked. In the game, he played knight f6, which we will cover very soon. But the best move for black was playing the pawn to d6, which is very hard to play over the board because white can just simply play queen takes g7, bishop f6, and queen comes back to g3, and the queen's position is a very good one. But this position is not bad, and it has been tried after this game, and black had good results. The knight will come to g7. The position is very unclear. You can play it with white and you can play it with black. It's a very interesting position. But Anand played knight f6, Kasparov pushed his pawn, knight to c6, queen h4, knight to d5, and queen to g3. This was all preparation by Kasparov, and he was aiming for this position right from the start of the game, and he gets what he wants. In this position, it might have been better to play king f8, but I still prefer white. Anand played g6 and simply short cast. White has lots of ideas with c4, rook to d1, bishop to h6, and Anand started with knight b6, which is a good move. He anticipated all of that and said, okay, I should play knight b6, so let's play it not right now. Kasparov played c4. He wants to bring his knight to c3 to join the attack. d6, good move. Rook d1 by Kasparov, pinning this pawn. And here, this is the critical position of the game, which I think that Anand made a terrible mistake here. He should have castled, which is a very risky decision, and it's very hard to play this move with black because white can just simply play bishop h6, attacking the king, and if you move your rook, you will just simply put his knight on c3, and look at this position. Who can play this position with black? But computers has different ideas in this position, and they suggest a very surprising move, knight to a4, a very strong move, which covers this c3 square and completely ignoring this rook on f8 and white. If white takes it, black will just simply play queen takes f8, and as you can see, he can later on play bishop to f5, queen g7, knight to c5, and everything will be interesting for black, and it's just an exchange. He has one pawn for it. I prefer black in this position, to be honest, and it might have been very interesting to see. But the best move for white in this position is to play knight to c3 and completely ignoring the exchange and knowing that his bishop is stronger than this rook. It's very hard, but I guess that Kasparov would have realized that. But in the game, Anand played knight d7. He was hoping to eliminate this pawn. This pawn is very annoying for Anand, and he was hoping that I can eliminate it. If he takes it, I will take it with bishop, and my position will be free. And if he doesn't take it, I will take it. But Kasparov says, I will just sacrifice all of my pawns. You can eat them. And he played bishop to h6. Anand has no better idea just to take the pawn, knight takes e5, and knight takes e5. I guess what Anand was hoping for, that Kasparov will play bishop g7, which of course black should not play rook g8 because bishop takes e5 will win a piece. But he was hoping for bishop f6, and after bishop takes h8, black has good compensation. His bishop is a very strong piece along this diagonal. But Kasparov was not interested in this material in this game. He was just going for the king, and in this position he played his knight to c3 and continue his development. In this position, Anand played f6, and look how Kasparov plays. He wants to open more files, open the game. He plays pawn to c5. He opens the way for his bishop, he opens the way for his rook, and this is how strong players play. They don't care about material that much, they care about piece activity. Here, Anand should have played bishop b6, which is easier to said than done, but after c takes d6, bishop takes d6, knight d4. Still, after queen e7, this position is not over. Someone like Nakamura might be able to save this position, but it's very hard to play this position for black pieces. But in the game, he played knight to f7, attacking this bishop, but once again, Kasparov ignored everything and played c takes d6. Of course, knight takes h6 is very bad, because after d takes e7, his queen is lost. He has nowhere to go. She has nowhere to go. So, after knight to f7, c takes d6, c takes d6, Kasparov played queen e3, another strong move, protecting his bishop. Knight takes h6, queen takes h6, and now it might be clear for you that white has a better position, and in fact white is winning in this position. Bishop to f8, white was hoping for queen g7, so black played bishop f8, queen back to e3 check, and king to f7. If queen e7, white can just simply place knight d4. The idea is to play knight takes f6, knight takes d6, bishop to b5, everything. Black is lost. So Anand played king f7, and here Kasparov put his knight on d5, another strong move. Bishop e6, knight backs to f4, attack this bishop. And if this bishop moves, white will just simply place bishop c4, and this game is over for black, because he has great weaknesses on the light squares. So Anand was hoping for, and after bishop d7 also queen b3 works, because after queen g7, yeah, this is stronger, queen takes b7, there are lots of threats for white. So in the game, Anand played queen e7, and here with this move, Kasparov finished off Anand, and he played his rook to e1. A very calm move, but a very strong move. White has the threat of knight takes e6, and the game is over. I mean, if black plays rook e8, white will just simply place knight takes e6. And after these moves, if king takes e6, bishop b5 check. If rook takes e6, bishop c4, and this is a dangerous pin. This is over actually. And after, okay, rook e8 is not possible. If he plays bishop to h6, white can just simply place bishop c4. And after bishop c4, black cannot take it because of the queen. If he takes f4, we will take this guy. We check, and then we will take f4. If he plays d5, we will take on d5. Once again, everything is hanging and white is winning. So after rook e1, Anand said, that's enough. And after 25 moves, he resigned this game. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please share your thoughts on this game for me, and please write comments below for this video, and like the video and share it with your friends. Have a good time and have fun.